So for this stream, I'm using these earbuds, which I hope work well as a microphone. They do have mics on them, so let me know how I sound because that's sort of one of my chief issues. Is I don't have a great microphone that's not wired. So let me check briefly here how I sound. That sounds really good. That sounds great to me. So I can maybe move pretty far away here. This is my friend, the mayor. Um, and my setup last time, I kind of had the laptop on like a table. Probably do that. I might just move it, in front of me. Um, some water here. So welcome to the stream. So this is the chapter 3, Zatch 2 discussion stream. I did say stream there. It sounded a little bit like screen, but I did say stream. I'm decked out, of course, in my Hypeland Zatch shirt. And we are ready to go through the chapter, discuss it. Let me test a brief thing, because having these earbuds in makes it hard to regulate my volume, and it's quite late here. It's 12:39 a.m. So I want to take one of these out just so I can sort of know not to talk too loud. But I don't know which one has a mic in it, if any of them do. So give me one sec here. Okay, testing. The left earbud removed. That sounds good. It sounds fine. Let's just test with the right one. Okay, testing with the right earbud removed. They both sound really good to me. What if I just throw it here? Will it be different? No, they still sounds really good. Okay, cool. So we only need the one earbud, and this seems to work great. You can't even see. That's kind of a nice sort of touch, right? Is you can't even see the earbud because it's not my face. My face is slightly to the right. How about that? Okay. So let me just put some notices, and we'll get into it. So chapter 3, scanned by our lovely people from the Discord server. So I've said previously that I don't really like to just go through the chapter and talk about it. However, I do kind of feel like that is the best way to do it. Hey, Plastic, welcome. Just for you, I turned off the auto hide on potentially NSFW chat messages. Just for you, I turned that off. So I see you're already making use of that. So that's good. So that's a change we made. So I'm not going to describe every page. We're starting with something pretty dark, but I found this a little silly. It's a weird way to start a chapter, right? Because like it's a very like it's just people. It's just shots of people. Like it's not very interesting, but it only lasts a couple pages. So at the beginning of this chapter, I was kind of like, I don't know if I really like this. Like, can we get to the point a little bit? Like, oh, there's more kids. But we're getting. Yeah, that's not intentional. There's actually I don't know if I'm even leaning in the right way. I gotta see on the stream. There's a poster for it's a Suda 51 game, and it's like a lady with like no shirt on who has her hands up. It's like kind of risque, but it glows so much that you can't see it. But I don't usually have like risque posters, but I actually yeah, I don't know. I got that with the game when I bought the game. Yeah, I mean it's good that it has glare because that's the risque poster. So great. Oh, I didn't know that's Zatch Gamer. Okay. So we're just talking about the beginning of the chapter right now. I gotta make sure, by the way, to look at the screen, to look at the camera more. Um, and there's a nice little village. Um, I wonder if maybe some readers won't like this because it's like, oh, they go to Egypt, and of course it has to be like a primitive village that they show, not like a city, which is a fair complaint. But all the people are they act very normal. It's I would say for Raikou, it's pretty I don't know, pretty progressive. So that's nice. We finally get a name for Kyo's assistant, which is something I was expecting in this chapter. Her name is Zahara. Probably probably just about the only way that could really be translated. So that's her name. So that's nice, and she looks like she could be a pretty major character in this series. So Zelly passed out in the car. She got taken to a doctor. It's nice that we skipped all that. We get a sort of callback to the first chapter when Zahara is like, I can't take care of any more kids because they live in an orphanage, just like Zelly lived at in the Moda world. And Kiyomaru sort of takes care of them. And there's quite a lot of exposition where we learn that Kyo sort of set up this orphanage with money that he was using to do archaeological digs at this site. And we get this really depressing scene where Kyo wonders, is Zatch dead? Before realizing that unfortunately he has to put that aside for now and help these kids, because that's what heroes do. And in this little page we get a drawing of Zatch, which I think might be a new drawing. It doesn't look, it looks very new style. And Kyo is imagining Zatch, says he can't be dead. But it's not Zatch as he looks now, so it's not very interesting. So Gil and Wake are freaking out some of the locals. Gil has a strong sense of smell, just like Zatch does. We don't entirely know if all of Moto have that, but it seems like quite a few of them do. Gil leaves on a bus. He just goes, bye. Which is pretty great. Raiku's really has fun with them. Then Kyo does something kind of surprising. I have silly putt here, by the way, that I'm messing with. Yeah. Which is that he has money that he saved up. And I didn't like really entirely like understand this part, because like it's weird that like Kyo had the chance to like do well for these kids and then like didn't. It's kind of odd because like he's not like, it would make more sense to me if he told Zahara like, hey, we're gonna open up the ruins, which is something I wasn't ready to do, which like there's probably valid reasons for that. And then once we get money we can feed the kids more. That would make a little more sense, but then at the same time it's like, if you had an opportunity to get money to feed these kids, like you should probably do that. I guess like it's probably like, I think maybe the disconnect is that that's probably like the kind of the part where I'm probably wrong about this is that like the kids look fine. You know what I mean? Like Zahara like complains a lot about them, and like how she wants to get more food for them, but like they all look fine, and like that's probably why Raikou doesn't view it as like a cold on Kyo's part or anything like that. I still had to show that meshed plastic. I know it's a meme, but YouTube still made me look over it. But yeah, I mean, it seems a little like it seems a little like he like just had this money and didn't care about them. But like, I guess the implication is that like the kids are okay right now, and like I don't know, Kyo had good reasons for not buying them a bunch of food immediately. It's just odd that like he tells Zahara, like, you can use this money and go buy food, like, right now. Like, I'm giving you this money and you can do that right now. There's not, like, something where he's like, okay, it's going to be a while until he get the food. You can buy the kids food right now. And it's like, if you could do that, like, why didn't you just do that already? It's bizarre. Um, yeah, but I mean, he's opening up the ruins to the public, right? Like he's not like waiting for a Momoto battle that's going to put people in danger to to let people in. I don't see. I don't know if I really believe that, Josh Blow Gamer. I'll read this just for people who might watch a stream later or whatever. So Zatch Gamer is saying, I think he was holding off on opening the ruins because he was waiting for these events to unfold first for a reason, which is something that we sort of learn later in the chapter, is that he predicted um, and was sort of a little prepared for more Momoto to come into that specific town. Um, the budget stopped coming in, but I think he was trying to conserve their funds. He felt like it was safe to give Zahara the money now, specifically because the demon kids are there with him, so things were moving forward. But like my sort of the reason I don't really agree with that is because like when the demon kids arrive, like yes, that's what Kyo wants because he wants to help demon kids, but like surely he must also know that that means danger. You know what I mean? Like that means danger when the demon kids are here. So that's a bizarre thing that spurs him on to open the room to the public. I don't really get the reasoning behind that. Yeah, they're opening to the public in 4 days. Well, I mean, so maybe he plans to complete. You know, there's a strong possibility we will learn more that we're watching a situation that's unfolding. Hey Giovanna, welcome. Where did I link this to you? Did you just see this on YouTube that I was doing? I didn't link this in a server you were in, I don't think. Welcome. I'm glad you found it. Um, so we're discussing Zatch Bell 2, Chapter 3, which I can link, by the way. There's unfortunately no way to read in English aside from the scan. So if you just want to peruse it, I'll link it right there in the chat. All right, awesome. Yeah, so it is an unfolding situation. Right now, it's just hard to parse the logic of it. Like, it just seems like weird to be saving this money that could be used to help people until this event happens, and B, to then be opening up these ruins to the public at a time when it could be potentially dangerous to people is odd. Thankfully, that's not really that important in the long run. We're talking about everything in the chapter. We're being a little nitpicky here because now's the time. Overall, not a big deal. So they make a lot of great food. Of course, Momoto have bottomless stomachs, and they're sort of a fun. Yeah, thank you to the algorithm gods. I guess they like Zatch Bell. I actually someone at work today was like, "Oh, I like your shirt," and I was like, "You know the show?" I couldn't believe it. So there's a couple nice moments in this chapter of Kyo. I got some in my eye there. I'm gonna cough. Of Kyo like being aware of the Momoto biology in a way that like Sahara isn't, so he like knows like how they work. And on page 22, we get a big returning character from the original series. Everyone's favorite, of course, I speak of the Vulcan 300, the cardboard box robot toy that Kyo made for Zatch, and he's still making them. Apparently, this is like his little special talent is to make these robots for the kids. And I love that I love that Raikou put Vulcan in so early. He just like couldn't help himself. A lot of people made real Vulcans. They're not that hard to make. No, I haven't ever made one. Fantastic. Yeah, that's what I was just saying. Yeah, I should. There's no reason I can't. Like, even if I don't get exactly the type of box that was used, which I could, there's actually an Asian market right near me that might sell some Pocky. I've never been there. I should go. But yeah, we get Vulcan. which is just awesome. That Vulcan's still going to be around. And then we get probably my favorite face so far on page 23 from this little girl who says Kyo says he's not going to make any more Vulcans for her. It's a really funny face. And then we get Kyo showing, Zoe's fully healed. She's a Moto. She's special. She's a demon. And then Olmo comes in and like it just that one meal has healed him so completely. Mentos boxes. Okay, that's a good tip. Thank you. Um, it's healed him so completely that he can now both walk and talk. We thought he was just some baby before. He's probably closer to probably 2 years old. I don't know when kids start talking, but like obviously Momoto can be different anyway. Like he's probably over a year old, assuming that Momoto and humans do age the same way, which for all we know may be sort of I don't know if it'd be a retcon, but maybe changed in the series depending on how the Momoto from the first series look, which we still have not met after 3 months. So I'm still waiting for that because I think that's still like seeing Kyo is awesome and like seeing like little silhouettes and like seeing characters from the back or whatever. But like it's only gonna be real when we see the whole characters. That's when it's gonna be really real. And it's funny to imagine that like maybe that'll only happen like 8, 9 months in, you know. And it's like, oh, it is a Zatch belt too. um, well, I spotted a little typo on page 25. The very first sentence, this girl is a demon child. Just take a look at that. There's something you can fix there. Just letting you know, Zatch Bell Gamer. But obviously, thank you for your service to all of us. Yeah, I like her hair. Yeah, it's poofy. But yeah, so the baby Olmo, yeah, like Zoe is very surprised that he can talk. And we don't. I kind of get the feeling that they're not actually related. Just from this, like I think they're both orphans together. They're basically siblings, but I don't think they're actually brother and sister. Um, yeah, it's a cute scene. Oh yeah, all praise to Zatch Bell Gamer. He's one of the people who does the translations. He works with a couple other people, one of whom is anonymous, but but you know them. Plastic. They're from. Um, you don't know them too well, but they are someone from the old forums, just like you were on. Um, the Zatch Bell Gamer sort of the public face of the scans. So we get some more conversation with Sahara. We get some more good faces, which is always nice, especially to see female funny faces, face faults as they call them. They're pretty rare, in manga. There were a good amount in the first series though. That's just nice to see them. Um, we see some sort of just a lot of archaeological tools and backpacks that have been clearly been used a lot. And Q says we're going to the ruins tomorrow, and these ruins are clearly special. Um, gonna. Okay, so then we get into the real shit. Finally, no, it's a good chapter up to this point, but like if it ended there, I would have been like, no. Nice, thank you. I'm glad I knew you wouldn't mind if I notified you of the typo. So, we do this, make everything better. But who's a frog? What did I say about frog? Bianco? I didn't mention Bianco. Um, so we got some really interesting tidbits here, which is that. Sorry, I gotta look at the camera more. Um, Zelly doesn't know what a spellbook is. She knows the symbol from the transportation device. She doesn't know what it is, and I don't. There's been some discussion on the Discord. Let me see if I can find it. Someone said something I didn't entirely agree with. Um, right, it was yeah, I don't like. I'm not gonna throw shade in anyone. I'm not gonna say who said this, but someone said on the Discord, I'm thinking Zelly doesn't know about the Moto world, which I think they mean just the books. Of course, Zelly knows about the Moto world. She comes from it. I think that was just they wrote Moto world instead of books, whatever. I think Zelly doesn't know about the books because Zatch did it. He stopped the battle, and hence there's no use of the knowledge being made public to young children. I don't believe that. The entire crux of the original uh oh, frog dude. Yes. Yes, plastic, yes. It was frog. You're absolutely right. It is frog dude. Um I didn't get who you meant. That's the other translator, yes. Um so okay. So Zatch didn't stop the battles at the end. The battles, it's a trial, it's a tribulation, it's one that um whether it's just the battle that we saw or every time, it's a battle that no one dies in. There's quite a lot of pain that's caused, but it's sort of a very shonen conclusion to come to, that like hardship is worth it if it leads to good for everybody. If it leads to strength. You know. Yeah, yeah. TIR, of course, which I still call you occasionally. Um, okay. Um, so yeah, so Zaps didn't stop the battles. I don't think there's a chance that happened. I think Zelly didn't know about the books, a because there was not a battle going on. I don't think the books are really like very. They're not like heavily involved in Momoto society beyond when a battle is happening, and also because I think Wade and Gill talked in the last chapter about how they seem to have neutralized the books in some way. That wasn't the language they used, but they hinted at something like that happening. Let me briefly just check. I always gotta check if someone texted me to shut up and be quiet. No, we're good. So Zelly doesn't know about the books, which kind of makes sense. But it's sort of a cool thing to introduce because it's another thing that sort of tips you off. Like this is going to be a very different series. Um, and Zelly's like, well, I don't need a book. Kyo explains the books to her. She's like, I don't need one because I can cast spells without a book. And she tries to cast her spell, Beriru, and it doesn't work. Um, and this makes sense, partly because Momoto might not be able to use their powers in the human world without a book. Um, and it makes sense that she thinks she can use it because we know that when there's not a battle going on, Momoto can use their spells freely in the demon world. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Of course, you guys know each other. Yeah. I mean, I've talked about you, Zatchville Gamer. I've talked about you to Plastic before as well. Like I've mentioned you from time to time. Um, yeah, all good things. All good things, I would say. um, and but yeah, yeah, you guys used to be on the Steel guys are on the second forum. We were all in there together. Um, and I know you much better now as Zatchville Gamer than I did back then. Um, So her spell doesn't work, and there's a reason for that it wouldn't work. Period. But her reasoning is because she had her spells taken away, and then she remembers the spells being taken away by this really terrifying beast. The spell stealing beast is what I've called it, and I think I messaged you, Plastic. I called it that. Um, and it's a single page. Could have been a two-page spread, but it's fine that's not. We don't need two-page spreads all over. Um, and I think there's still a chance. That's like a big question I have about this chapter. Is like, so one of my main predictions. Oh no, I will mention that Touch Bug Gamer, and I mentioned that to Plastic as well on Facebook. So the big question I have about this is one of my main predictions for this chapter was that we were going to get a flashback to what happened at the orphanage. Um, and see that attack, see how Ted and Cherish and Rain's powers were stolen, have Wade sort of maybe hint at a little more at what they did to the motor world in general, um, and see Ted and Cherish attempting to fight, see what they look like now that maybe a few years have passed, um, and we're getting right now a slightly bigger look at this, but still there's a lot of things that are hidden from us. So this is like all all this little page this page essentially shows us is what stole the Momoto's powers, which tells us still quite a few things, right? Like it sort of tells you there's like a lot of things you can infer from it, kind of like a big question I have is, okay, so we see a pretty large crystal being taken out of Cherish right here, and everyone has a different, I call them spell elements. I don't know if they're going to get a real name in the future. Um, where Ted has the symbol that's on his jacket, which is cool. Cherish has a crystal. Rain has a sort of just a rock that sort of resembles his kind of, I don't know, claws or something. Um, so, Ted has ring, yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously Raikou is still really holding back showing the Momoto, which even here he is. We're still only seeing them from the back. When we've seen them before, they've been far away or from the back, or like we don't really see their eyes, you know. So he's still holding that back from us for who knows how long, which is interesting. Um, so my question is, we see the big crystal being stolen from Charis. The little crystal that she gave Ziggy in chapter one, we saw that Ziggy had it. We didn't see her really give it to him. Did that happen after this? Did that happen before this? Did she find a way to break a piece of that big crystal off while it was floating up from her, while it was being removed from her? What is the exact process of events there? And what it is could, show us a lot about how these spell elements work. Um, but this monster is really interesting. It just, for all that we know, it comes in and it can just do this. This is just an ability it has. Like, it has the ability to steal Mamoto spells. We don't know if this is what it was meant for. This is possibly what it was made for. We don't really know. But it comes in, it's huge, it's massive, probably bigger than Clear's monster form, I think. Going by, it's kind of hard to tell exactly how big it is. And it just opens its mouth and it can just suck. We see all these orbs of light going probably from all around the area towards it. And something that I noted to multiple people, as I said before, just when I saw this, is that I often try to keep an eye out for like visual inspiration in manga, and I usually won't mention it unless I'm like very I find it like really interesting, or I think it's like very striking. Because I don't want to be this guy who's like, do you think this could be like a reference to like this thing I like, and like no one else agrees? Like, I don't want to be that guy. Um, I mean, Ryu seems to be involved in some way, right? At least they knew where the teleporter he built was, and who knows why he built that, by the way, if he built that. We will learn about that, I'm sure. That's, by the way, a good thing to bring up. That's a reason why I think we may still be going back to this event and seeing an expanded version of it. So something so like, but like I said, it's sort of like, I don't always want to mention stuff like this, but I was very struck by how closely this monster resembles Pennywise from the end of both It movies. He does this near the end of both, when he reveals what's sort of his true form, which is called the Deadlights, where he sort of opens his entire face, like his mouth freakishly wide, revealing like all these fangs, like a whole bunch of fangs, and like a pit in his sort of mouth that light shines out from. Specifically, these three rotating balls of light, which are very resembling of not only the balls of light, that have the spell elements, but also we see sort of a light shining deep within the monster's mouth. And this strikes me as very reminiscent of that. I think, I'm not going to call it a reference, but I mean, I think it's so close, just in terms of how it looks, that I think there has to be a little inspiration there. Which makes sense, because Raikou loves monsters. We know that. This freaky, freaky monster here has these weird other double mouths coming out from the sides of it. And I can only assume it's got 4 eyes on the left side. Well, this is the left side, it's the right. It's probably got other eyes, another 4 eyes on the right side of its face too, and it's got 2 arms. From what we can see, it looks a lot like Bezukerka in terms of its body. Now, you could theorize a million things, right? I don't really want to get into it, because I don't like theorizing based on nothing. But like, a lot of people always, Ryuta-kun is a big theory guy in the community. He always theorizes about like I don't know what if he has a name for them, but like the beasts that are summoned through spells, like Shinkriya Sonosu, or you know, Shijiro Sifadon or um, what's Pendulum Farga, Pamoon's five faced beast. This is something that a lot of fans have wondered about. I know Ryuta-kun sort of likes to theorize about these a lot. And the fact that this beast specifically does look a lot like a spell, like a lot like one of those big spells, could be something. There could be something to that. I know that's something a lot of people are wanting to learn more about because there is sort of an implication in the original series, especially with Clear, that these spell beasts sort of have a will of their own, a mind of their own. Um, Clear's final spell, Shinkiryu Sunosu, kind of seems to take him over, and he even has another spell, um, Zara Fedora, which summons a dude that seems to be, from what I remember, loyal not to Clear but to Shin Korea, or might just be Shin Clear if you were to say it in English. But he seems to be loyal not to Clear but to that spell, according to a line of dialogue from him. So Raikou seems to have thought this out a little, and I wouldn't be surprised if he went into it a little more in the series. But we don't know that for sure. That's all I'm willing to say on it right now. However, it is a freaky monster, and we can expect a lot more of those as the series goes on. Um, I don't think that this monster we're looking at is um, going to be a big villain with a lot of agency in itself. Just from looking at it, I think it is something someone's using, whether it's a spell or some other beast, something, some ancient being like an elder god or whatever, um, that has existed for a long time. We don't know, but I think it's someone's using. We can see a little of its tail. It looks like it has like a sucker on its tail. Um, but yeah, there's a lot to find out about that. Oh, I don't remember that plastic. Third opening of the anime. What's the third opening called? Let me check that. Let's see, third opening. Oh, that's the photo one. Yeah, it is a little like Cell's tail, isn't it? What would you say was a Cell reference in Zatch Bell? P3. What would you say was a Cell reference in Zatch Bell previously? I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm not. I haven't seen the shot you're talking about yet, Plastic. But obviously, I don't think anything in the openings is really like supervised very much by Raikou. But I still want to see it. I don't. Oh, here it is. I mean, it's cool imagery. Yeah, it is. That's interesting. It's interesting imagery. I don't really know if it was if it means anything. Right. Yeah, that is a little Cell gamey. Yeah, I guess Clear's forms don't look like too much like Cell to me. His second form is super weird with the weird headpiece. Not a big fan of that, but thankfully he changed it. So um, Zelly's afraid, obviously, and says, we can't beat them. But Kyo says, we can't keep running away. We see that Wake and Gil are heading to the village right now on like a motorcycle. And Kyo says, we're going to fight these guys. We're going to stand up to them. And he says something really beautiful, which I don't. I'd like to know, Zatchbell Gamer, if there was like any localization going on that you did with this, or if this is more of like a literal translation where Kyo says that the three kids, are a letter from Zatch, which is sort of a really nice thing to say because at the end of the series, he got a real letter from Zatch, and he's saying, this is another message from him. That's a really nice thing. Yeah, I think that might be a coincidence, though it is interesting that obviously the Bayo being shown as sort of an evil figure near the end of the Fado arc before they get it under control is reminiscent of that. But it's a really nice thing that Kyo says there, saying that you three are a letter from Zatch. It's a letter that says, "Please come find me." So obviously, Kyo, he still doesn't fully believe Zatch is dead. We know that. Okay. What did I say, Plastic? Oh, whatever, dude. Don't criticize my pronunciation. All right. You see this poster behind me right here? Am I pointing at it? No, I'm not. Not that one. This one. Am I getting it? Wait, hold on. Hold on a minute. I'm not doing it right. Wait for it. Wait for it. This poster. You know who that is? All right. It's Bayonetta. All right. Um. Yeah, not the glare one. I'm trying to point at my Bayonetta poster. Um. So that's why I'm pronouncing it that way. This orange thing. I hate. I'm sorry. I'm so bad at this. That orange thing back there, by the way, is from a shooting range I went to one time. There are little holes in it. I did pretty well. I'm not gun crazy or nothing. I've only been there once, but I figure why not hang it up? Okay, continuing. Don't criticize my pronunciation. Listen, if I pronounce things the way I pronounce them, okay. So we got sort of a big sort of drop from Kyo, which is that this is something that people have sort of had an idea about. I know, Plastic, you mentioned it to me, which is that Kyo sort of knew this would happen. He hasn't exactly been planning for it, but he knew it would happen. And that's the reason why he's in Egypt. Um, and, Ziggy obviously knew to send the kids to Egypt, so there's quite a lot to be uncovered with the ruins near this town, and other things. Um, there's a lot of plot that is sort of bound to the human world, right now. And that's the end of the chapter when Q reveals that. Which is cool that we're going to be in the human world for a while, and there's potentially connections between the Mamoda world and the human world. This might be something left from the last battle. Could have something to do with the Zatch's dad, the king. Could be something from battles even further back. I think we're going to learn a lot in this series, and this is, I think, I think that the theory people are really going to love this chapter, because I think this chapter is a bigger indication than we've gotten so far that like there is going to be like lore in this series. Before this chapter, I haven't been too confident that like we're going to learn a lot about like the questions people wanted to know when they read the first series. But now I would say it's pretty clear we're going to learn some things that whether Raikou knew them, he had thought of them when he wrote the first series. He's thought of them now, and I think we're going to learn some stuff. Rio's Pops is doing some weird shit. Yeah, I mean, there are so many ways it could go. Like, I'm not like almost willing to start speculating because there are so many ways it could go. Rio, Goren could have been involved. Zatch's dad could have been involved. The Dragon Clan could have been involved. Some ancestor of Clear could have been involved. There are a million people it could be connected to. There are a million people that will become connected to it. The spell books themselves. There's about a million things you could talk about, and there's so much to get into. Possibly. Zashbell Gamer says, I need to see Gash meet Zelly, Omo, and Mippy. Yeah, it would be really nice. I think it's going to happen. Another thing that I think this chapter really makes clear is that we are staying with Zelly. I think she's at the very least going to be like a very strong character in this arc, which I think she was always going to be. But like now that we've had this sort of Chekhov's gun of her spell, which now that we've seen her trying to cast it now, we're going to see her successfully cast it at some point, which may take a while. And she may sort of be a sort of protagonist for this series. Maybe there's some weird secret she has, like a real shonen protagonist. Maybe she's secretly related to Zatch in some way. You never know. I kind of don't want that, but that's a very shonen thing. Yeah, this is some speculation you've made before, Zatch Gamer. I guess it's still possible that everybody who got their spells taken away might just be residing in Gorm's dimension, since that was an innate ability because it's not a spell. And yeah, that's another really interesting question, actually, is there's a speculation that they could be hiding in Gorm's Black Room dimension, which I would love because I love Gorm. Um, I don't really know if I believe that, but it's a really interesting theory. Um, and that's a really interesting question as to whether the spell stealing beast took away all of Lamoto's powers, including those that aren't technically spells that can just be used, like Gorm's dimensions, Zophas's heart control, things like Rain's ability to transform into a more humanoid form. Um, that's a good question. I think Zelly is a new spin off protagonist. Gash is the legacy protagonist like Jaden and Yugi. It's very possible. I don't know. I think, given that this is a monthly manga, given that Raikou has creative freedom here, there's a big chance that things could drastically change from arc to arc. I still think it's not impossible to have further time jumps in this manga, especially if Olmo becomes an important character, which might happen now that he's walking and talking. Um, so once again, like at this early point, we're at a point where we've had enough content that there's a lot to speculate on, but we have not had enough content to be able to narrow that speculation down to an area where we we can have good theories about the future. You know what I mean? Like we can't there's I don't know if there's really like a theory that you can say that like other people will go like, oh, that's got to happen because of all these little hints we've seen. Like there's like nothing like that at this point. Something I can say I'm sure about is that the big battle with Wade and Gil, which I think at the very least, Kyo, Zelly, Mippy, maybe Olmo, and Zahra are going to all be facing Wade and Gil. I think it's going to take place at the ruins. Um, I can say that's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen. That might not happen next chapter. Next chapter might be uh, a lot of exposition on Kyo and the ruins. Um, I have a feeling we will get to that battle. It's exhausting talking about that spell. It's actually very hot in here. I kind of want to turn the fan on, but might be a little too loud. Give Barry. Yeah, I mean Barry's such a fan favorite. There are a lot of fan favorites who. I mean, I'd love to see. You know, we just don't know. We just don't know when we're gonna see old characters. We don't know in what way we're gonna see them. I would guess that a lot of the characters we would potentially see are ones who still have potential to like grow, like Danny, who is a hugely popular character from the original series, despite the small amount of time that he appeared. He's a big, big fan favorite. I think it's very possible we could see him have a big role in this series, but that's just based on like how popular he is. Like I don't know how Raikou would I don't know who he wants to bring back. I don't know what his goals are. You know, maybe he'll end up just bringing the main four back and saying we're following them again, which would be fine, and I love that because I love the main four people and Brago, of course, the main five you'd call them. Was he broken in the car game? It's interesting. Let me get the mayor back here now. My computer. Put his hat on here. So, okay, is it possible that the beast in the sky can actually fire a beam from its mouth, and that's what destroyed a chunk of foundation on the cliff that holds up the rope? That was very possible. Yeah, that's a good idea. I don't really see. I think when I saw that spread, I sort of had the idea that that was made by a ship. Because like seeing the cards, it almost looks like a switchboard. The cards that the names were put down on, and I was sort of thinking that the evil people were like technology based, sort of like aliens in that way, that they might have ships they came in on. But it could have totally been that beast, totally. Maybe he took a big bite out of the castle too. Yeah, this chapter I think in many ways is the best one so far, at least in terms of like opening up the possibilities of the story. before we had a story that was very straightforward and that was good. That's what you want from an intro. You don't want it to be too crazy. You don't want to introduce a bunch of elements too early. That would confuse the reader, especially new readers. Um, but now we're really getting in the thick of it. This is an exposition. This is an expository chapter, um, and that's really big. And I think you're going to see more discussion about this chapter than you saw about any of the other two. And you can theorize nearly anything. Like I said, there's so much that you could say. The meta in set 3 was using your Danny to out your opponent's Danny. Can you verify that, Zatch game, or have you used that strategy? I mean, what else is there to say? Is there anything else we can theorize on or think about? I can't wait for a real fight. I really can. I think it's going to be crazy when we see a real fight. I mean, now we've had like one spell per chapter. We've had like yeah, we've had a couple big things per chapter. Chapter 1 it was um, spells at the beginning. We had the transporter. We had even the king is dead, and we had Kyo's appearance. That was the first chapter, so obviously there's a lot of big moments. Second chapter, we had Zakaraga, them using Zakaraga against him, and we had the Moto World reveal. This chapter, we have the ending where Kyo says he knew this was coming. Is there anything else big? It's probably something. I mean, Vulcan, right? Vulcan's big. Oh, and we have the big monster, obviously. So I mean, that's good. It's good that we have major things in every chapter because it's not necessarily a given. Like, there's probably monthly manga where nothing happens for a little bit. But that's what I love about a monthly manga, and that's why I always like to read. That's why I wouldn't. I don't like to read these scans as the pages are being put out on Discord, even though that's sort of what I did. I read like 2/3 of the chapter before it was finished. Then once it was finished, I came back and read the last bit. But reading a monthly manga is to me a little like watching an hour-long drama on TV. It's a chance to really immerse yourself into the story, which is something you can't always do with weekly manga because there's sort of sometimes feel like the chapter's over as soon as you start it. So I love that in a monthly manga you can have multiple big reveals per chapter, which isn't something you always get with weekly manga. And yes, we get a lot of time to discuss in the month. Can't believe we gotta wait another month now. I'm glad we're getting good stuff every month, man. I'm gonna be happy when there's like a full volume of this to like, I don't know, look back on. But also like we still haven't seen any of the old Momoto yet, and like I knew this was gonna happen. From chapter 1. Like, I think back in my video for that, I said like it's probably gonna be a while until we see the old characters, and like now it's very clear that it will be, barring any huge surprises, like they find a freaking portal at the ruins and someone steps through. It would be a great there you go. It would be a great sort of question to ask of who is the first Momoto that we're going to see, and who is the next human that we're going to see. Because it's such an open question, but I think whoever gets that right would have a lot to brag about. If I had to guess, I think it would make a lot of sense to be Brago, because Brago is sort of the anti-hero of the original series. He was in many ways a secondary protagonist. So to sort of have him now be like the first old character we see, the first original series Momoto, I think would just like make sense. I can't explain it super well, just from a perspective of like what we've seen before, what we could see now. I think it would make a lot of sense to be Brago. I think it would also make a lot of sense for it to be Tia, because she is also largely a secondary protagonist in the series. So if I had to put my money on Annie Momoto, it would be those two. I don't think it would be Ponygon. I don't think it would be Consummate. Ponygon, it could be, because Ponygon was like Zatch's best friend. Like I would kind of say like, you know, they were all his friends, but like Ponygon was like his, his pet. He was like his buddy. He was the first. Ponygon was like the first Momoto Zatch was really friends with. And that would be a reason to bring Ponygon in. But I'd still put Brago and Tio over Ponygon. Because Ponygon is, he's a horse. like no, no offense meant. Like especially if there has been a time skip. Like Ponygon's like a horse. Like wouldn't that be weird? Like wouldn't that be weird if like there's a portal and like a horse just walks through? Like that would be just kind of bizarre. Like I think Ponygon would need to have someone riding him if he was going to appear like that. We love Ponygon. Yeah, Ponygon and Mippy, I would obviously get along. Um, Mippy. I wonder what Mippy. I think will. If Zelly's important, I mean, then almost probably important Mippy probably do stuff. There's so much that could happen. The old characters are great to speculate about, but the new characters, are very exciting too. I mean, there were a lot of the kind of the emotional stakes sort of come from because I think a lot of the old characters we sort of have this idea that they're going to be fine because we see them, we love them. We know that Raikou, is going to bring them back, but the new characters, we don't really know what's going to happen to them. We don't know anything about them. So Fane on page. Okay, that's interesting. I don't know much about the CCG. I remember playing it. I used Kikaropu because he was the meat shield. He was the tank. I really enjoyed using him. I actually made one of my OCs that I really liked, but didn't get to use much. Was named Metor, Metor. Oh, someone just texted me and told me to shut up. No, we're good. We're still good. And Meteor's whole thing was that he was regular sized human. He wasn't a giant, but he had metal skin, which was even stronger than Kikaropu's shield. The way I'm talking about this right now is like a freaking 14-year-old talking about their cool ass character. I like. What can I say? I think some of my ideas I think are good. And so his skin was even stronger than Kikaropu's shield, but his spells were weak. They were like comparatively very weak. So he was like a very physical fighter, sort of like Danny. But I liked. I don't know. I liked that. I liked his partner was an old lady who was like a Scottish politician, which I just thought was like a cool idea for a partner, because it's sort of like a lot of the Zatchbell partners are like celebrities who like go around and do things, but like they're not like really beholden to like having jobs. Like you see Megumi filming videos a couple times, but like the idea of having a partner who's a politician interested me just because it was like the Momoto would be like beholden to like that life a lot of the time. Like you'd have to travel around and like be out of sight or like sit in a limo or whatever. I just like that image. Still talking now. Yeah, please don't listen here. Now keep talking about the CCG, for God's sake, please. I'm not being sarcastic. Fane lets you see the opponent's entire deck. Wow, that's what Fane does? Fane's that strong, little bastard? A freakish bastard. Oh, really? So Danny attacks directly, huh? That's interesting. Okay. Yeah, she was a politician, yeah. Which I thought was just sort of an interesting take on the celebrity partners we have in the actual series. But yeah, hey, if you had an idea when you were 15 and you still like that idea, then like that's such a great feeling. I think a lot of my ideas from back then are super dumb, but there are some that I like, and I like that. I like them. I think we're mostly done here, right? I think we are. Famous busted. That would have been interesting to see who would have been banned in pro Zatch Bell, which Zatch Bell did have a league, but it was not didn't last very long. Or anyway, um, let's check the Discord for any messages, and then we'll wrap this up. Plastic, if you want to get on the Discord, please let me know. It's a really great server, um, and you can talk about the CCG till the cows come home. Okay, well, here's a bit of an interesting theory. This is sort of redemption for the other message they sent earlier. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to trash this one person. Which is, that there are people in the human world who could potentially really be a big help to Kyo, like Dr. Riddles and Dufort. And of course, yeah, Paulo, was always a backer for Kyo's adventures. And there's a big chance we'll see them before we see any of them, Humans together strong. Oh, people are linking my stream. That's nice. I linked my stream earlier. I don't know why that guy I'd need another link to it. I was afraid I didn't put a link for a second. I liked it. I like my thumbnail. I think it's a good thumb. They make you take a picture of your own thumbnail. I just feel like that's a good thing to do. Just show the hold up the number of fingers that the chapter is. There was a freaking flashback where Zophis attacked Cherish's house in the anime. Are you serious? Is this guy serious? You're serious? I didn't hear about that. That's nuts. I don't remember. I mean, there's like a lot of the anime that I didn't freaking see. I didn't know that happened. Buy what am I buying? What am I buying? That's crazy. That's nuts. I mean, I gotta see that. I gotta check that out. Wow. What a weird thing. Okay, so I think we're done. Great. I think it's a really good stream. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Plastic. Thank you, Zatch Bell Gamer. Thank you to Giovanna for stopping by. I think that was it. But it felt like it was obviously there was a lot of discussion between you guys. So I want to thank you for coming. I hope I was not boring. I think I was a little less focused this chapter because there was a lot to sort of springboard off of. Like I said, it was kind of less of a straightforward thing in the past two. But I always come out of these streams thinking that like they were fun. There were some good ideas brought up, from hopefully on my side and also from you guys. I like knowing that maybe I have some insights that other people don't know, and I like it when I get insights from you guys that I did not know. That's why I do these. And I like that I found out these earbuds work as a mic. I might try to get something else. I might try to get a different setup. However, I think that this looks pretty good. Like this is serviceable. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was a cute chapter. Like as long as we got the stuff in the second half, I didn't mind the stuff in the first half. That was just you know, Zoe getting used to life at the orphanage. It was nice. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, this is the mayor. He's from a video game called Watam. He has a bomb under his hat, and you can. It's actually got a little magnet on it. But it's a good bomb. Don't worry, it's a confetti bomb. Watam is like sort of kind of a kids game, but like it's a game made for everybody. Oh well, this year's Watam is from the same guy who made Katamari, which you saw me stream a lot of a while back. I'm a big fan of that guy, so I have this. I don't have any other stuff, um, any other merch from him. Um, but I'm a huge fan. He's one of my favorite creators. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's from the same guy designed this guy is the guy who made Katamari. Um, so there you go. We'll end it there. We're getting off topic now. I like to imagine this. Maybe this guy is a Momoto. Um, okay, okay. Thanks for watching. Have a good night. Yeah, and I'll see you next month. Jeez. Okay, we'll be back here. I've really been enjoying these streams. We'll be back here next month talking about chapter 4. I'll keep this train rolling. Very confident, especially with this chapter, that this is going to continue to be a series worthy of discussion. And it's going to be really fun. I've been having a lot of fun. It's just lovely having Zatch Bell back, back in our lives. Okay, thanks everyone for watching. Let me get to a point where I can end this quickly here. How do I do that? Here it is. All right. Bye.